Well, we are wrapping up our infrastructure week by looking at the transit needs across the country and how the federal candidates are pledging to address those concerns. Joining us this morning is Maddie Simiatiki, the interim director with the School of Cities at the University of Toronto. Welcome back to your morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, first of all, where are the greatest transit needs in Canada?
We have transit needs right across this country. Here in Toronto, we have the Relief Line. That's at the top of the priority list. We have the Yonge Extension Line to York Region. Scarborough, we still need a solution for the Scarborough transit situation. In Vancouver, Surrey needs better transit. Transit to the University of British Columbia. In Montreal, they have huge congestion needs.
But Ben will be addressing those with the mayor a little later on.
And we could make a list right across the country. The key is that we're using evidence to make the decisions, to pick the areas where there's the greatest needs, and then investing the right resources to get the projects built.
Well, first of all, before we get to how that money filters down, let's take a look at what some of the candidates are saying about transit promises. The Liberals pledging to increase transit funding by $3 billion a year. The Conservatives have said they want to fund two major Toronto area transit projects. You mentioned two of those, Matt. And the NDP want to work to eventually make rides fare-free. The Green Party says they want to focus on rail investment and making trains faster. So what do you make of all these promises you've heard so far? Will they help?
There's a wide range of promises. In each platform, you could probably find something good. I think with the Conservatives in particular, there's concern about them talking about cutting infrastructure spending around $18 billion over 5 years. So even though they've committed to the Yonge Line and the Relief Line, they've still talked about cutting spending. There's concern there. I think with the other platforms, as long as we're talking about increasing spending, putting the money in the right places and getting infrastructure built quickly, this is positive.
My understanding, Maddie, so far how it works is the federal government says we're going to kick in this much money, and then it comes down to the provinces and the city to figure out how to disperse it, who gets the projects, how long it gets to be done. But as we know, if you live in a major city, every time a government changes, every time there's a new election, it's back to square one.
This is the complexity of the Canadian Federation. We have a bottom-up model of confederation. The cities and the provinces actually pick the projects, and the federal governments then kick in the money. It's in those negotiations that we've had a lot of trouble finding consensus. There's political gamesmanship when the two parties are not the same, and it's created real challenges in getting projects built and finding out where the priorities are and getting the money spent.
Listen, I've covered news for almost 20 years in the city of Toronto. They still don't have a subway line or any kind of transit line from Scarborough into the rest of the city.
Scarborough has been really one of the ongoing legacies where we've really been challenged at making priorities, picking the right technology, getting all the levels of government on the same page and getting the project built. And the people of Scarborough are the ones who are really losing out. They have not had proper transit in that region for a long time. They need investment desperately, and all the governments need to come together and get that built.
You mentioned struggles right across the country. So if the model is right now, federal government kicks in the money and it filters down to the province and the cities, how should they be deciding which projects to fund?
The municipalities and the provinces need to come together and make regional plans that are strategic. We often don't prioritize in this country. We pick projects that are the flavor of the moment and then try to get the political consensus together. We need to do long-range strategic plans and then prioritize the projects based on evidence and then invest the money in the projects that are going to deliver the best benefits. Investing in transit that are not the top priorities is not going to solve our problems, and it's going to create long-term challenges in terms of spending on operations and maintenance.
People on the other side of that argument will say, you know, good luck getting the city and the province and the feds to sit down at the table and come up with a comprehensive plan. Is it possible?
I think it's necessary. I think that's what they should be doing. And I think as Canadians, we should be requiring them. We should be pushing them. We should be asking them how they're going to work better together. We saw just this week, actually, that there was a consensus between the city and the province around the Ontario line. That is a big step forward for transit in this region. And it now means that many of the parties are saying they will fund, the federal parties are saying that they will fund the Ontario line. This is a big step forward in getting the consensus that's needed to get transit built.
Maddie, thanks for coming on this morning. Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.